What's up, Nerdyverse? I'm Daddy Louie, and in this video, we are taking a look at a game called Codenames Duet, so stick around. Before we get started, if you're new to our channel and you want to see more content like this, start now by hitting the subscribe button and the bell icon so you don't miss any future videos. If you're a board gamer, unless you've been sleeping under a rock for the past few years, then you know exactly what Codenames is. In just a few short years, about 5 or so, Codenames has become a household name among a lot of gamers and families alike. It's a very popular game. It has close to a dozen different editions by now. There's a Disney edition, Marvel, Harry Potter, so on and so forth. So it's definitely something that is popular among, like I said, gamers and families all over the world. The edition that we're going to be looking at today is Duet. It is unique from most of the other editions in that it is not a competitive game but a cooperative game, and it was specifically designed for 2 people. It can be played with more people if you want to break up into teams, but it is a 1v1 type of game, which is, or not 1v1, one-on-one cooperative game. So a couple of people or 2 teams, if you will. So that's what kind of separates it from the other games. There are some components that are compatible across all games. You can use the clue cards from this game and other games, and you can use other games' clue cards in this game if you wanted to, mix and match your stuff together. But is this version of the game any good? Well, if you'll join us on the table, we will take a look and we will find out. Alright, so here on the table we have all the components that come inside of the box, as well as you have a pad of maps. All the maps are the same, but you can try and play with different people. This is kind of like a little mini campaign or variation of play. I'll explain that later on. And then, of course, your rule book, which is pretty small, and that's okay because once you understand the rules, you won't need to really reference this again. And then you have all of your components. So these are your tiles that identify where the agents are that you are trying to have your teammate guess. And they're double-sided, and each side is different. So you want to keep that hidden from your friend, and you're going to do that by placing it on this little stand. One side so that you can see yours, and the other side so that they can see theirs. And there's a huge stack of them, so different variations of play every time that you go in. You also have your agent tokens. These are going to cover up the cards once you have identified the secret agents that you are trying to contact on the field. There are 15 of them. There's also an assassin. If at any time you or your opponent guesses a spot where an assassin is, the game immediately ends and you lose. You also have double-sided round counters. This is to signify where you are in the game. You only get 9 incorrect guesses. There are 11 tokens. If you want to make it easier, you could do 10 or 11, but a standard game is 9 incorrect guesses. And then you have your code names themselves. 2 huge stacks, and all of them are also double-sided with different words. So lots of variation to play, and like I said, you can mix and match code words with other games. I'm going to set up for a game now so that I can show you. Okay, so here we have set up for a standard game. We have a 5x5 grid of keywords, as well as our agent tokens, our assassin, our 9 turn counters, and then our double-sided tracker here. And like I said, the object of the game is to guess where all 15 agents are. But like I said, you'll see that both sides are not the same. So I have on each side 9 9 green squares. So that would, but 3 of them are the same. So I want to try and give my partner clues in order for them to guess where the green squares are on my side. Meanwhile, they're trying to do the same on their side. 3 of the clues will be the same. And if at any time one of us picks a black square on either side, the game immediately ends and we lose. If someone guesses one of these tan squares, that's when their turn will end. You can keep guessing until you hit a tan square, and then that's when you take one of these turn counters. You've located a civilian. You don't cover it up because just because it's tan for me doesn't mean it's tan for you on your side. So that's what these turn counters represent. Your turn immediately ends, and it goes to the next person once you've hit a tan marker. Or when you, if you just want to stop guessing, then you obviously don't hit one of the turn markers. So once all the turn markers are gone, if you haven't guessed all of the green agent cards, then it goes into a sudden death, and you just use the information that you have to try and keep guessing until you've hit all of the green squares, or you hit an assassin and lose. So the hardest part about this game is obviously picking the clues that you want to give to your partner. And the clues have to follow 2 rules. One, the clues can only be 1-word clues, and you can say a number after the clue to indicate how many green squares you see on the board that matches that clue that you've given. So you have to be careful to make sure that your clues fit the green squares that you're looking at, but don't accidentally trigger the black squares. So for an example, on my side, you can see here, these are all of my green squares. So I have nose, shoulder, boss, anchor, spirit, ranch, tattoo, walrus, and dash. So I want to try and give clues so that my partner will pick those particular cards. So nose and shoulder, those are body parts. Boss is not, anchor is not, spirit's not, tattoo's not really, ranch no, dash no, and walrus no. But I also want to look at my black squares and make sure that none of those are going to trigger anything. It doesn't look like it. So I might say body part 2. That indicates to my opponent that there are 2 body parts on the board that I want them to guess. So if they said nose, I'd be, yep, that's correct. And we would cover up nose. And then they'd say shoulder. I would then cover up shoulder. And they would know that they guessed 2 correctly. And their turn would then end, and it would go to me guessing. But we wouldn't use a turn counter because they didn't guess incorrectly. So you can kind of see that that's how that goes. And that's really the game. The rules are quite simple. You just need to, the hardest part about the game is just coming up with the word that you want your partner to guess. Okay, so the last thing that I want to mention is this pad with this map on it. It's kind of like a little mini campaign to give yourself some different challenges with your partner. If a standard game is too difficult or too easy for you, you can go, around this map and do these different challenges. You'll notice that each location has 2 numbers. The first number is the amount of turns that you get total. So, for example, Montreal is a 9 and a 2. So this is what Montreal would look like, 9 and 2. So you have 9 turns, but only 2 of them are bystanders. The other ones are flipped over to their checkmark side. So if the guesser chooses to stop guessing after 1 or more correct guesses, they would take one of these checkmark side up tokens from the bank. If only the bystander tokens are left, then they would have to take one of those. So if the turn ends by guessing a bystander, you would take one of these like normal. However, you can notice there's only 2 of them. So once you're out of those, wrong guesses become penalized. So 2 checkmark side tokens, you'd flip them over to the bystander, and it would, you know, get placed on the card like normal. So you get penalized for wrong guesses in this. You get penalized for the tan guesses on these maps. So it's way more difficult. It gives you way more of a challenge. Some of the locations are a lot easier, like Cairo is 9 and 5, so you have 5 bystander tokens. Bangkok, Hong Kong, Shanghai, all these over here give you more. But then you have some that are, you know, like 8 and 0, so you can get no bystander wrong. 9 and 0 in Cairo, or in Monte Carlo rather. 10 and 1 down in Cape Town. So this is just a really cool way of you know, playing with the same team, the same partner. If you only ever play with the same person, you can use these to keep track of, you know, how good you're doing, basically, to give yourself that extra challenge. And that, guys, is Codenames Duet. Like I said earlier, Codenames has become a household name in board gaming over the last 5 years or so. It is a very, very popular game. Duets should be no different, especially if you like, you know, cooperative games. If you have a small number of people that you game with, this works very well for that. My one minor gripe about the game is actually the packaging itself. The box does not come with an insert or anything like that, and you saw the sheer amount of cards that the game comes with. It does have little plastic baggies, I guess, if you're okay with that. But me personally, I would have liked to have, you know, paid an extra few dollars for the game for them to include some kind of a plastic insert or something to keep my cards organized. Maybe some kind of a card divider so that once I've used certain code words, I can kind of keep them separate from the other code words so that I'm trying new stuff every time I play. But aside from that gripe, I really enjoy this game. I think it's really cool for all those people that I mentioned. If you like spy stuff, if you like detective work, if you ever played that game Guess Who when you were a kid, this just takes that kind of fun and it amps it up by like 10 and gives you a fresh new style of game. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps us out a lot. Make sure that you share it with your family, friends, and your nerding communities. If you have any games that you would like to see us cover here on the channel, let us know down in the comment section below. I do read them all and I enjoy interacting with you guys. If you have any videos you want to have featured on our page, or if you would like to collaborate with us, you can hit us up on one of our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at Circle of Nerds. Also, don't forget that we have a podcast that comes out on Tuesdays called The Cosmic Disaster Show. You can find that right here on YouTube or anywhere that you enjoy listening to podcasts. And for an extra bit of love and affection to us here at the Circle of Nerds, please check us out over on Patreon at patreon.com/Circle of Nerds. Anyway, guys, that's all from me. I will see you in the next video.